All right. I think it's almost 5 minutes after 1, so I think I'm going to get started here. I see a couple of folks on the call, and hey, thank you everyone for joining us today. We are recording this session. Any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to type them in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask those questions accordingly. I think, Alan, if I have my memory correctly, I believe you guys are in Pennsylvania. I think it's the Village Farm Garden Center. So appreciate you hearing what we have to say from the Proven Winners Perennial side of things. So my name is Tim Anderson. I'm the Director of National Accounts and Business Development at Walters Gardens. And for those of you that don't know, Walters Gardens is the Proven Winners Perennial Partner. That means that we are the breeding arm and the production arm of the great perennial program that's set forth within the Proven Winners brand. So today I'm going to go over some of the new things that we're going to introduce in the program for the coming season. This will be for the retail season of 22. So things that growers would take and plant late this summer of 21 and spring of 22 to have at the retail level of the season of 22. So with that being said, a couple of overview program and highlights I want to point out. And I think we always are curious, well, man, how long ago did the Proven Winners Perennial program start? Well, honestly, this is the 11th year for the Proven Winners Perennial program. With that being said, from the humble beginnings 11 years ago, we're now up to 177 total items in the program. That's a great amount of depth that allows you, growers and retailers alike, to have product from a frost to frost concept, allowing the consumer that's solely sought after this highly respected brand to have it in April, May, June, July, August, September, all the way through October. So this year, we're going to unveil 22 new items for this 22 retail season. And then a total of mass is now 40 different genera in the collection. So I think everybody also wonders, what are the best-selling Proven Winners perennials? If there's 177, how do I narrow down my choices? Well, I'll kind of point out for this past year, the things that sold at the retail level of 2020, just what were those top 15 plants? So Nepeta Cat's Pajamas, a great selling Nepeta, #1 selling plant in the brand, but also more importantly, that's also the 2021 Proven Winners Plant of the Year on the perennial side of things. We know that program drives consumers and it drives units through your garden center and your wholesale facilities if you're wholesaling perennials. #2 is Perovskaya Denim and Lace. That was the previous year's Plant of the Year. So we know that campaign also lingers on and holds on product for demand in the seasons forthcoming. And also the top 5 are rounded out by Banana Cream, Daisy May, Black Pearl, and of course #6 being Lavender Sweet Romance. If we jump down a little bit here, we're going to see another great plant that's popped in the lineup. That's Heuchera Wildberry, and I'll touch on that here as we go forth in a few minutes. So if we're looking ahead now to 21 retail season, those products that are going to be sold in the next 3 or 4 months at the garden center level, where do we stand with the top 15 now? Well, still right back up there is Nepeta Cat's Pajamas, still holding on, 21 Plant of the Year, followed by Daisy May, Banana Cream. The Denim and Lace is still there as well. The Romance Sweet Lavender is there at #5. But if we look down, we'll see Heuchera Wildberry is now up to #9. And then we'll also see that #10 is Dianthus Painted Town Magenta. And if we look further, we'll see Hosta Diamond Lake is #12. And I'll touch on that again, as I mentioned earlier. So part of the Proven Winners Perennial program and any other programs, the shrubs or the annuals alike, there's the National Plants of the Year. So just to remind us all, the National Plant of the Year for 2021 is Nepeta Cat's Pajamas. 2022 is Dianthus Painted Town Magenta. And 2023 is Dolce Heuchera Wildberry. So I mentioned those 2 items on the end here, Painted Town Magenta and Wildberry, are now moving into the top 10 and top 15 selling plants. And they're not even the National Plants of the Year yet. So we know the traction is there for, once again, retailers and growers alike to drive units through them to bring a profit to their garden centers. So we know and understand that it takes time for perennial programs to develop from a production standpoint, the marketing standpoint, all of those things. So you can see we're trying to provide growers and retailers the plants of the year 2 and 3 years out, right? So that you can plan accordingly, familiarize yourself with those production practices, and find the best way to capture all the marketing that goes behind those great plants. So one of the things we strive for in the perennial world, especially if you're having a national plant of the year, such as Dianthus Painted Town Magenta, is to not just have it in the garden center for 1 week of the year or when it's only flowering in that early spring program. We know that consumers want national plants of the year at multiple weeks and at multiple times and in multiple formats. So with that being said, we think Dianthus Painted Town Magenta is just the ultimate candidate for that, right? It's a free flowering Dianthus. It's one that you can bring in the fall, plant it in the fall, bulk it up. It has great heat tolerance, great longevity in the garden. And I'll talk about that here as we go forth. So here we have a production plan with a grower in a 1 gallon program. You can see this is in the southeastern part of the United States. We did a fall transplant with Dianthus Painted Town Magenta, small liner cell. Now here we are on March 20th, about to start the retail season the 1st of April. They're going to have a prime crop in beautiful shape that they can go to market with on April 1 and sell through it with that backing of the National Plant of the Year. But if we're back at that same production facility and we're looking at this crop here where they spring planted in February on 2/21, basically week 7, another round of Dianthus Painted Town Magenta into gallon containers from a 72 cell. Here we are with the photos taken on May 3rd. So here we are about 9 weeks later, 9 to 10 weeks later, they're going to retail again with the same product. So once again, it's allowing them to capitalize for multiple weeks of the season, having that top selling plant of the year on the table. We've also heard we need to have sun and heat tolerance because, hey, we want the plants to look good all year long so that consumers and homeowners feel appreciative of the National Plant of the Year that they've invested in. Well, here we have a planting on August 16th, 2019, or I'm sorry, a photograph taken on August 16th, 2019. So in the dead of summer in the upper Midwest, this photograph was taken, but this crop was planted in January. So it's still perpetually flowering for a long period of time. Here we are 6, 7, 8 months into its flowering cycle, still throwing up spent flowering, but also still throwing up buds alike on both Painted Town Magenta in front, and then behind it, the lighter one is Painted Town Fuchsia. So they both react very, very similar. I mentioned heat tolerance is very, very important. Here's a facility doing some trialing of the Dianthus program in the Deep South and looking for heat tolerance. So you can see this bed at one time encompassed multiple varieties of Dianthus within the Proven Winners program, and other breeding partners around the world had their Dianthus in this trial program. The two in the front that you can see in the photograph are Dianthus Painted Town Magenta and its sister next to it, Dianthus Painted Town Fuchsia. Both items have taken 30-something days over 90 degrees, still looking good, still throwing up some flowering on the 3rd of October, where you can see other varieties have essentially wasted away and have gone away to nothing. So once again, heat loving, drought tolerant, multitude of interests, spring planting, fall planting, summer planting. This plant, Dianthus Painted Town Magenta, makes a great candidate for the 2022 Retail Plant of the Year. I mentioned the hostas are also important. We saw that Hosta Diamond Lake popped into number 12 in the plants, top selling plants within the Proven Winners Perennial program. That'll be the 2022 National Plant of the Year. And its predecessor on 2021 is Hosta Wee, and then Empress Wu on 2021, Hosta Wee, my apologies. What makes Diamond Lake a great plant? It has very, very tough substance, a great vigor index. Not only does it have a large leaf substance to it, but also has a wavy and puckered foliage along with a wavy margin with the puckered foliage there. So great candidate there to make the Hosta of the Year for 2022. And then as we look forward to 2023, we have Hosta Empress Wu. Now you can get the reference to the size and a stately plant in the garden. You know, when it comes to 3 or 4 or 5 years later, this is a garden specimen by all beliefs. So strong, dark green foliage, blue-green foliage, large leaf structure, and massing, 5-6 foot specimens in its stately. So Empress Wu for 2023 and Hosta Diamond Lake for 2022. So here we are going to talk about now those new plants for the 21-22 season, now that we've got through the plants of the year. So the first new introduction for the 21-22 season is Amsonia String Theory. So if you're looking for a plant that has multiple seasons of interest, and what I mean by that, early blue flowering, complemented with nice serrated lacy foliage, this is the plant for you. And you'll also find its fall color. This is the fall shot of October foliage of Amsonia String Theory, giving you that great fall color spectrum that complements so well with other plants and native species in the landscape. So what do we like about String Theory? Well, we like its habit. It's very upright, does not lodge or open up, has a robust format to it. It holds its flower very, very well. It doesn't have the chlorosis or chloroticness that we see of other Amsonia on the market. So all in all, it's a good package for both landscape presence and homeowners alike. So I'll touch on a clematis, and this clematis falls within the perennial program for the Proven Winners program. And what I like about this clematis, or how is it different than other clematis on the market? It's a herbaceous clematis, so therefore completely falls back to the ground every year, reemerges, flowering and flowering perpetuates after probably 28 to 30 days. You're getting some first flush of flower. It's also a long flowering machine, so a great pollinator, attracting all the bees and butterflies that we all come to love. But with those nodding flowers, you get some attractive characteristics on that part. I mentioned it's a non-vining clematis. So with that, it needs some garden friends, whether that's a staking system or other plants in the garden that it complements well to lean against, and so on and so forth. So clematis, stand by me, lavender. Rock hardy plant, zone 3, great pollinator plant, nice showy presence. So geranium boom chocolate. This is the first geranium pratense that we brought into the Proven Winners perennial program. It is a hardy geranium with dark bronze leaves, upright habit, but it's comparative to other varieties in the market called Dark Rider. And what do we think it improves upon? One, I think it's the habit, the stately garden presence that you see over Dark Rider. Dark Rider has a very compact, intimate form, but also take note of how dark the flowers are. You'll see the flowers on this are quite a bit darker, and the leaf texture and substance is greater as well. So geranium boom chocolate. Proven Winners perennial program has 2 great series of heuchera in it currently. We have the Primo collection and we have the Dolce collection. Both have different characteristics that cater to each program. We're now introducing a 3rd series to the program called Dressed Up. And the first introduction in the Dressed Up series is Evening Gown. This is a dark black heuchera with great garden vigor and container vigor, has some purple and silver undersides of the foliage, but also what makes it very attractive is the ruffling on the foliage there. This is the first of 3 eventually to come into the program in the Dressed Up collection, but great vigor, great sheen to it, with that very attractive foliage presence of that ruffling margin on there. So Dressed Up Evening Gown heuchera. If you ever watch or look in to see what Walters Gardens in the Proven Winners perennial program has done with perennial hibiscus, it's second to none. There's lots of great things that have come off with that. We've launched the Summerific series within the Proven Winners program. And last year, in this past August of 2020, we had a great consumer social media campaign called the Summerific Week. Our intent is to find consumers and drive consumers the beauty that these hibiscus that we're currently breeding on can bring to them and clients alike. So what makes the hibiscus program great? First off, this picture captures it perfectly. Overlapping petal substance. You can see the petals on here are overlapping and they're not paper thin, giving you a full substance effect to it. Also, we have shrunk down or manage the plant habit to be of good stately shape. We know gardens are not as large and robust as they used to be. Homeowners have limited area, limited space. So we're trying to find hibiscus that bring us a complete tidy package at 3.5 feet tall. And you can see by this photograph right here, it kind of captures that as well. Another important characteristic we're trying to make sure it happens, we want to make sure that that flower, that beautiful heavy substance overlapping petal flower, is on the outside of the plant. We don't want to bury it inside the canopy. Once again, outside where consumers can capture that full color. I think this last photograph kind of captures the whole package. The rounded habit, the flower quality, the dark jet black foliage, high bud count up and down the stem length there, allowing for longevity of flowering from that July through September hibiscus period. So once again, Summerific Edge of Night hibiscus. The series of hostas that are currently in the Proven Winners perennial program are called the Shadowland series. So I'm going to talk about 3 new varieties today. They're going to complement the others that are already in the program and bring value to that as well. So the first will be Hope Springs Eternal, Miss America, and Voices in the Wind. So here we are with Hope Springs Eternal. And when it comes to hosta breeding, it's a long, diligent process. A lot of these crosses are either 9, 10, or 11 years old. We've been watching them for a long time to make sure that we have the true attributes that bring value to what we're trying to do. So here with Hope Springs Eternal, you're going to find we brought a blue foliage hosta with a very, very crisp, creamy white edge on the side there. That goes with that wavy texture as well. Just like I mentioned with Diamond Lake, we're trying to find attributes that are new and unique, and that's the wavy package within the foliage, the corrugated foliage, and the wavy margin on there. You'll also note that the flowering on this is a tight top of the plant package. Not like a Savolian type that's elongated multiple feet above the plant. This has a flowering package on top of that as well. And also the vigor index. All of these will be classified as high vigor plants. So once again, bulk well for the grower in the container and for garden performance for the customer. So Hope Springs Eternal. Now, Miss America, we have a Medio Variegata here, but I think some great things about this you'll notice is the quality of the foliage. Tough, durable foliage that lasts up to weather resistance, slug resistance, all those things that are so important to make a foliage plant look great throughout the summer in the garden. But more importantly, you'll notice it has ramrod thick flower scapes, and with those flower scapes come outward facing flowers. If we're looking to find attractive flowers on hosta, we think there's benefits for pollinators, hummingbirds, and things of that nature that can capitalize on that to make a foliage plant have multiple attributes. I think we've done that with Miss America. And that, once again, is an incredibly high, vigorous plant. And a garden specimen will give you in that 4.5 to 5 foot range in its specimen state. So once again, Shadowland Miss America. And last but not least is Voices in the Wind. And in the first plant, Hope Spring Eternal, I mentioned it had a creamy, crisp white margin. This has that same type of habit with a very strong, pronounced yellow margin on the outside. Once again, puckered seersucker foliage with that wavy margin on the outside. But think of this plant as a very strong, pronounced cascading habit, almost a pendulum shape coming down on it. So this would be Voices in the Wind. So all unique attributes of the 3 new introductions of Hope Springs Eternal, Miss America, and Voices in the Wind. Let's talk about 3 new hostas. Let's talk about 3 new amazing daisies. So 3 leucanthemum we're bringing to the program this year: Banana Cream 2, Marshmallow, and Spun Silk. And all of them have unique features that make them worthy of the Proven Winners Perennial program. So let's talk about Banana Cream 2. I mentioned in one of the very first slides some of the top selling plants in the brand. Depending on the year, it's year number 2, 3, or 4 has been Banana Cream. So what we're doing is looking to replace the original Banana Cream with an improvement for the grower, improvement for consumers. So we all win at the end. So here you see the first plant that our breeder Hans Hansen is putting his hand on is Banana Cream 2. And behind him was the Banana Cream, the original Banana Cream, which we are replacing and dropping from the program. We wanted to bring improved flower quality. We wanted to bring more flowers to the package, so more tertiary, secondary flowering stems, but also lower the vernalization requirements so it works in multiple regions across the country, and accelerate the flowering window so you can come to market or have at the retail table a week or 10 days earlier than you would with the previous predecessor called Banana Cream. So here we are with Banana Cream 2, a great new introduction that won't skip a beat, and growers will appreciate, and homeowners, the improvement that we have there. The next up in that slide is Leucanthemum Amazing Daisy Marshmallow. This is our first double to the program. And when we're looking for doubles, we're trying to make sure it has a few things. One, clean, clear flowers. We don't want to have a snotty or a dirty looking flower once it's spent. And you can see this plant right here kind of captures all of that. And also with the double flowering varieties, typically we want, it's not always the case, but you see on the market, there's not a lot of complete coverage on the top of the canopy. And I think you can see that we've accomplished that with Marshmallow by having a complete coverage canopy of a flower and foliage ratio with nice dark green flowers, and like I said, non-snotty or non-dirty looking flowers in that double state. And also this plant also has a lower vernalization requirement than most leucanthemum on the market, helping it to work in different parts of the country where the limited hours of cooling can be had. So, and then last but not least on the Amazing Daisies new introductions is a variety called Spun Silk. This is our first spider into the program, or quill tip on there you can see. Very, very stately, very, very large flower. This will be the largest of the largest flower size of the three we're talking about today. Very clear, crisp, white flower at that. And then packed on that dark foliage. But just like with the previous ones, wanting to make sure we have good foliage canopy coverage. We don't want to have elongated stems here or there. We want a nice rounded package to give that good complete coverage. I think we have that with spun silk. Okay, jumping ahead to some Monarda, maybe I'll just quickly paint the picture. Currently in the Proven Winners Perennial program, we have two series of Monarda. The first of those two series is the Pardon My series, and the other series is the Leading Ladies series. And there's some fundamental differences that come with each series. The Leading Ladies series is the Razzberry species series. The Pardon My is a Didyma series, species series. So what do you get from each one of those species? Well, with the Leading Ladies series, you're going to find that the plant is naturally compact, 10, 12, 14 inches maximum. You'll find that the foliage also has more of a grayish green foliage to it. And you're going to find that the plant naturally flowers 10 to 14 days earlier than the Pardon My or the Didyma breeding program. And on top of that, you'll see the secondary flush or the burying of the dead occurring here with the second and third rounds of flowering coming up with these yet to be fully open, or in case these tighter buds down here. So giving you some longevity of flowering, shorter package, clean, clear, pronounced foliage, but also a flower that has a speckling effect to it. We call this Dalmatian effect here. So Leading Lady Amethyst. The second Leading Lady we're introducing now is one called Leading Lady Pink. So same habits, early to flower, short in stature, a vibrant, clear pink, great plant to complement the Leading Lady Amethyst. And last but not least is probably my personal favorite, Leading Lady Razzberry. You're combining itself with some dark black or bronze buds and bracts, but also with the retina burner color, I like to say, with that fuchsia pink raspberry type flower color on there. So once again, Leading Lady Razzberry, Leading Lady Pink, Leading Lady Amethyst, 3 new introductions in the Leading Ladies series. So if we jump ahead to the Pardon My series, I mentioned the Pardon My's would be flowering 2 weeks after the Leading Ladies series. More of a dark green foliage compared to that of a gray green of the Bradburyana series. But once again, a good stately presence there. Dark bracts at immersion time, good all-around garden package. Typically, the Pardon My series will be 4, 5, 6 inches greater in height, both in container production and definitely in garden production and garden settings. So Pardon My Rose and Pardon My Lavender 2. This is an upgrade to the current Pardon My Lavender. So we know the grass market is a very, very strong market. Hey, great for landscaping, great for homeowners, great for other industries that can support bioswales, things of that nature. So here we are with a new pennisetum to the program called Pennisetum Prairie Winds Lemon Squeeze. So great contrast of chartreuse lemon foliage versus dark brown, almost bronzy seed heads on there as well. So we have a chat question here, it looks like. Okay, Ellen, thank you. How resistant is Leading Ladies series Monarda to mildew? Good question. So with that being said, there's of the 2 series, the Leading Ladies series is typically more mildew resistant than the Pardon My series. And that has to do with the species that it's bred in with the Bradburyana species. And that species typically comes out of the desert, or sorry, the southwestern part of the states here, right? Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, Arkansas is typically where you find that Bradburyana species. So hot, dry resistance and better mildew resistance than the Pardon My series. So great question there. So on that grass, the Prairie Winds Lemon Squeeze pennisetum there. So once again, foliage and flower complement each other very, very well with those bronzy copper colored seed heads, complement that chartreuse foliage. So great things there. So in the Proven Winners perennial program, there's multiple series of flocks. I'll just kind of quickly rattle those off. You have the Spring Blings, the Mountainsides, the Sprite series, the Opening Act series, and of course the Luminary series, which we're talking about right here. The Luminary series is a paniculata series, a series of paniculata phlox. And what we're trying to do here, we talked about foliage in the Monarda sector. It's also talk about foliage in the phlox world. Getting a dark green foliage, limited, great resistance to mildew, limiting that as an inhibiting factor on how it looks in the landscape or for homeowners or growers in production. I think this photograph right here in a garden setting kind of captures that. You can see the dark green foliage. This is in a garden setting, not chemical or anything of that nature. Strong, crisp, clear white flowers with a non-existent eye. I think that's important because it's a great, clear, clean flower. And those umbels or panicles of good stature that are holding up well there. So Luminary backlight, and that's going to complement the other two that are in the series currently, Luminary Ultraviolet and Luminary Opal Essence. So a great little trifecta of 3 great paniculatas in the Luminary series. I mentioned another series of phlox in my moments ago was Opening Acts. So the Opening Acts are flowering about 2.5 weeks before that Luminary series. So if you're looking to program phlox from spring through midsummer, we can do that easily with these 5 series. So Opening Act Romance has stoloniferous characteristics, so some underground rhizome underdevelopment on that. Waxy green foliage, remanded in flowering, very mildew resistant. But great overall package there. So these for us in our Michigan setting are flowering the first week of June, or something like this here will be flowering late June, early July, Luminary. So allowing you to have multiple time periods of phlox flowering. An easy shear on this, or would shear this back, you'd have great secondary flush, very strong secondary flush, or you can see there's, like I said, some remondancy of flowering and budding occurring on this picture here too. This complements Opening Act Pinkadot and Opening Act Ultra Pink quite well in the series. So let me talk about the sedum program. So currently in the sedum program, we have the 3 different subclasses or types: rock and grow, rock and round, rock and low. And each one of them is trying to help the consumer and growers alike to realize what their habits and features are. The rock and grow are all the upright types. The rock and rounds are what I call those mushroom caps or dome-like effect. And both of those are fall flowering, the rounds and the grows. And then we have the rock and low series, which are our ground cover types, or what I would call late spring, early summer flowering sedum. And I'll touch on that here in a minute. So the first one we're going to talk about is our new one is Back in Black. So you can see it's a very stately plant, working for many, many years to find just the right perfect black leaf sedum. And I think we've got that now with Back in Black. Mind you, we grow bare root sedum and we do a plug version. So for us to make sure we have limited leaf scab, reduced stem topple, all very important characteristics for us as we are trying to produce them in a field setting for bare root production. So here we have a close-up shot of Back in Black. Garnet red flower, as you can see the nice dark waxy foliage that comes with it there. And then last but not least is sedum coral jade. This would be a olive green foliage, a nice salmony pink, rosy pink flower on there that comes well in very, very tight, intimate habit. Nice stout plant, does not open up or lodge on that. So that's sedum Back in Black and sedum coral jade. So that is the 22 new plants for the Proven Winners Perennial Program. I'm gonna go back here and answer any questions that I can, or comments or concerns, and we can talk about those. Alan and the team there, you had a great question about the Monarda, and this here is a container production shot in our trial facility. Good foliage on there, like I mentioned. You'll find that, I think, in my opinion, and from my observations, that the Leading Ladies series will give you that pronounced mildew resistance, more so than what you're coming up with probably in the Pardon My collection. So some great things there. All right, we'll go back here one more time and just kind of look real quickly and just reiterate the retail plants of the national plants of the year for their various retail seasons. So once again, the hosta of the year for 2021 retail season would be Shadowland Wheat. 2022 will be Shadowland Diamond Lake. And then forthcoming for 2023 will be Hosta Shadowland Empress Wu. And all of these items, when the labels and the plant identification tags that come with the plant will have this insignia on there stating its year of Hosta of the year. So once again, that helps consumers recognize that, and it goes with the media campaigns that follow those great plants. Then we'll jump back one more time just to reiterate the perennial program. 2021, Nepa to Cat's Pajamas. Early to flower, great habit, flowering from top to bottom, ground level to the top, dark graphite color calyces that hold on for a long time. And Dianthus painted town magenta, long flowering Dianthus, multiple zones, multiple ways to do production planning. And of course, Dolce Wildberry Heuchera for the 2023 season. And then, like I said, those top selling plants for the season here: Cat Pajamas, Daisy May, Banana Cream, Cinnamon Lace, Sweet Romance, Black Pearl, Wizard of Oz, Nepa to Cat's Meow, Heuchera Wildberry, Dianthus Painted Town Magenta, Hosta Autumn Frost, Hosta Diamond Lake, Sedum Boogie Woogie, Allium Serendipity, and Hemeracalis Going Bananas. Well, that kind of covers it for my side, and thanks for joining, everyone. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to us, waltersgardens.com, or any other social media channels, or through the MANTS trade show floor, virtual trade show floor, and we can talk through those with any teammates that have questions, comments, or concerns. So thanks again, and have a great day.